Hello and welcome to No Win, No Fee, the show where all 12 of these contestants are hoping to go home with £4,000, and I'm hoping that they don't, because I do not get paid for presenting this show. If one of these people takes that money, then I go home with absolutely nothing. Zero. No win, no fee for me. And if you don't believe me, take a look at it in black and white. Here is my contract, and read what's written there. Remuneration. The presenter agrees that he shall receive no fee for providing the services. In fact, the only way I make anything is if the contestants fail to get the £4,000, in which case I can trouser that money. So, let's meet the people who stand between me and my fee. There's Barry, Trish, Kevin, Teresa, Paveen, Ray, Tim, Paul, Nick, Michelle, William and Alex. Now, at the moment, you're virtually complete strangers to each other. All you know about each other are your names. And this is a game of assumption and presumption. I'm going to ask you to choose players who you think will get a question wrong. It's all about sudden death, and first impressions are vital. There are 12 of you playing the game now. In a few minutes, there'll be only 6 of you. And we're going to start by randomly choosing just one of you. So who's going to be up first? Maybe one of the chaps in their colourful shirts. Maybe one of our female contestants. A lot of nervous people facing me. Our first contestant is going to be Tim, and we're going to find out how good Tim is at reading people. Tim, will you join me now and choose your question? So I'm going to give you a choice of 2 questions, and then you've got to pick one of those and select somebody you think is going to get that question wrong.
I'm going to go with the bottom one.
OK, you've chosen the bottom question. Now I'm going to read it to your opponents, and then you've got to pick one of them to come up and give you the wrong answer. If they get it right, you go out. Scan the faces. Here comes the question. On which island was Napoleon Bonaparte born? Paul is very pointedly not meeting your gaze. Who are you going to go for? See, Michelle doesn't look too happy, but don't let me sway you.
I think I'm going to go for Nick.
So, Nick, Tim thinks you're the most vulnerable contestant. Join us now and face your question. Now, Nick, to survive, to go into the next round, you have to get this question right. If he does get it right, Tim, you've chosen badly and you're out. Take as long as you like to think about it. Here comes the question. On which island was Napoleon Bonaparte born? Are you narrowing it down at all? In your
I mean, I was really hoping he didn't pick me for this one, because, I mean, the only one that sticks in my mind is Elba, but I'm sure that's not where he was born, but I'm not sure.
Tim, are you still pleased you chose him, or do you think he might be bluffing?
No, I think I'm quite happy.
Right, OK.
The other island that's coming to mind is Corsica, I have to say, but I'm not sure if he was born there. Well, I think it's wrong, but I'm going to say Corsica.
The question was, on which island was Napoleon Bonaparte born? Nick is saying Corsica. If he's right, he stays in and Tim goes. You thought of Elba as well. In fact, Napoleon was born on Corsica. Nick, you're right. Which means, Tim, Nick, you're through to the next round. Tim, I'm happy to say you're out. So the lights are flashing again. One contestant is through. There are only 5 more places in the final. Let's find another contestant. And this time, it's another chap. It's Barry. Barry, come up and choose your question. Choose a question, top or bottom. Take your time.
I think we'll go with the bottom one.
The bottom question. Now, I'm going to read it to your opponents, and you've got to pick one of them who's going to get it wrong. Watch their reactions. This is all about first impressions. In rugby union, how many points are awarded for a converted try? Paveen looks quite confident. Oh, don't let me sway you. She's smiling a bit there. Oh, Trish is laughing, but is she bluffing? Who's going to get it wrong, Barry?
I think I'm going to try Paveen.
So, Paveen, he thinks you're going to get this question wrong. Will you join us now and face your question? So why Paveen, Barry?
I don't know, she just had a sort of blank look that could be one way or the other, and I'm hoping it's that she doesn't know the answer. OK,
you've got to get this right, Paveen, to stay in the game. If you do get it right, Barry, who's put you under pressure, is out. Here's your question. in rugby union, how many points are awarded for a converted try? What's going through your mind, Paveen?
I'm thinking it's a couple of different options, and I'm hoping the one I go for is going to be right.
What are the options you're considering?
Well, the one I'm going to go for is 4.
You're going to go for 4. The question was, in rugby union, how many points are awarded for a converted try? The answer is 7. So, Paveen, you're wrong. Which means Barry is through to the next round. And Paveen, I'm happy to say, you're out.
Thank you.
So 2 people are a step closer to that £4,000. 2 have gone home, and we've got 8 expectant, or is it very nervous people left? Who's going to be up next? And it's Kevin. Kevin, I wonder how good a judge of character you are. We're going to find out. Will you join me now and choose your question? Now, would you rather pick a question or answer a question?
I'd rather be sat in one of those chairs, actually, at this moment in time.
Well, only you can make it happen. You've got to choose a question, top or bottom, and then pick somebody who's going to get that question wrong.
Go for the top question.
The top question, thank you. Here it comes. Take a look at their reaction, then pick somebody who you think is going to get it wrong. Here is the question that Kevin has chosen. Which martial art, literally translated, means empty hand? William is very impassive. Teresa now is looking a bit puzzled. Well, who's it going to be?
I think it's going to be Trish.
So Kevin has chosen Trish. Trish, it's the moment of truth for you. Time for you to face your question. So, you must get the answer to this one right, Trish, to get through to the next round. She does get it right, Kevin. You've chosen badly, a bad question, a bad opponent, and you're out of it.
Hand.
You've gone. You go home, as you said, empty-handed. OK, you can take as long as you like to think about it, Trish. Which martial art literally means empty hand? Now, are you still pleased you chose Trish?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah? Trish, which martial art literally means empty hand?
At a guess, judo.
The answer is karate. So, Trish, you're wrong. Which means, Kevin, you've got a place in the next round. And Trish, I'm happy to say, lovely frock, by the way.
Thank you.
You're out.
Thank you.
Sorry. So just 6 of us left, a dirty half dozen. Who's going to join those contestants who are already through? And this time, it's William. William, I hope you're a good judge of character. It's time for you to choose your question. The slow and baleful walk of a condemned man, that was, William. Would you rather be answering a question?
I suppose your future's in your own hands if you answer a question.
Well, you've got a bit of a say in this because you've got to choose top or bottom. Which of these questions will the remaining contestants get wrong?
I shall go for the bottom one, please.
The bottom question. You know, somehow I knew you were going to choose that one, but it's up to you. This is the question, then, that William has chosen. He's looking at your reactions. Think about whether you want to come up and answer this one. Which Scandinavian country's parliament is called the Folketing? Ray is looking thoughtful. Alex there, look at him. No expression at all on his face. So, William, who's it going to be?
It's going to be Alex.
So, Alex, he thinks he can suss you out. He thinks you're going to get this wrong. It's time for you to face your question. So what was it about Alex that made you pick him for this one?
Nothing at all. I'm not saying that I think he'll get it wrong. It's just a guess on my behalf.
Just a kind of 5-to-1 shot?
Yeah, exactly.
OK, here comes the question. Which Scandinavian country's parliament is called the Folketing? What are you considering then? Which Scandinavian countries?
I've got an idea. I think I've got about 2 I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with Sweden.
Sweden. Now,
Yeah.
if you're right, you go through to the next round.
Cool.
You're close to that £4,000. If you're wrong, William gets the shot at the money. So the question was, which Scandinavian country's parliament is called the Folketing? Alex said Sweden. The answer is Denmark. So you're wrong, Alex. Which means, William, you are through to the next round. And Alex, I'm happy to say, congratulations, you're out. So now we're narrowing the field. 2 places left, only 4 contestants to choose from. I wonder who's up next. How good is he at sussing out other people's strengths and, more importantly, their weaknesses? It's Ray who's going to join me to choose a question. And what a fine and dazzling shirt, Ray. You've got a choice of 2 questions. Read them, take your time. Which one are these contestants most likely to get wrong, top or bottom?
I'll go for the bottom one, Paul.
Bottom question. OK. I'm going to read it. You can look at Teresa, Paul and Michelle's reactions and then pick the person you think is most likely to get it wrong. Maybe you've singled somebody out already, but watch their reactions. Here's the question. Which English football club's nickname is the Blades? Paul is maintaining that very icy exterior. Well, Teresa's a bit more smiley. Michelle now is looking down, but that could be an act. She could be bluffing us. Maybe she does know it.
I'll go for Teresa.
Teresa, he thinks he's sussed you out. It's time for you to face your question. So you had 3 people to choose from. Why Teresa, Ray?
May sound sexist, but I think a woman is less likely to know about sport.
Hey, let me tell you, fella, that does sound sexist. Do you know the answer?
Yes.
OK. Teresa, which English football club's nickname is the Blades? What are you thinking, Teresa?
I've got 1 or 2 teams that I've got in mind, but I'm going to go for Southampton.
Southampton. Now, if you're right, you stay in the game. If you're wrong, we lose you and Ray goes through. It's not Southampton. It's Sheffield United. Teresa, you're wrong. Which means Ray goes through to the next round, and Teresa, I'm very happy to say, you're out. So Paul and Michelle are left, but there can be only one going through to the next round. Who's going to choose a question and who's going to answer a question? Let's find out. It's Michelle, so for the first time in this game, a woman is going to choose the question. Michelle, join me now and let's do just that. Well, you've come a long way. You managed not to get picked.
Stood for a long time as well.
Stood for a long time, getting a bit tense. OK, now, of course, Paul has got to answer this question and he's got to get it wrong for you to stay in the game. You get the choice of which question, top or bottom. Which one do you fancy? Take your time. Top or bottom? Think about Paul, who was standing very close to you. Maybe you noticed some of his reactions. He has been a bit stone-faced, though, hasn't he? He's still not meeting our gaze.
I don't like either of those, but I'll take the bottom one, please.
You want to go for the bottom question. Now, Paul, you can stay there for a minute as I read it to you. You're going to get exactly the same thinking time that everybody else has had so far before we invite you up. Here is the question that Michelle has chosen to put you out of the game, but only if you get it wrong. How many times was Marilyn Monroe married? Think about his reaction. You haven't got a choice. Paul's thinking. Paul, will you join me and face your question? So the last 2 left in round 1. Only one of them goes through to try and get my £4,000. So actually, this is a no-lose for me. I say goodbye to one of you. I haven't got a care in the world. Paul, you look slightly nervous. Here's your question. Don't give me an answer straight away. Take as long as you like. How many times was Marilyn Monroe married? He's got to get this wrong for you to go through.
I can think of 2 of her husbands, and I'm not sure if there were more, so I'm trying desperately to rake up. I'm not sure there wasn't an earlier marriage, so I will say 3.
3?
Yeah.
Paul has said 3. If he gets it right, he goes through to the next round. If he's wrong, Michelle goes through. The answer is not 2, but 3. Paul, you're right. Which means, Paul, you do go through to the next round. And Michelle, I'm happy to say it's been great fun. You're out. And well done to all 6 of you. You've managed to eliminate your opponents, either because you're a good judge of character, maybe you're clever, or just plain lucky. But let's hope you've been paying attention to everybody else's strengths and weaknesses, because now it's time for you to go head-to-head with each other. And, of course, with me. Why me? Well, If none of you win, I put £4,000 in my pocket. Otherwise, I get nothing at all from this show. So I hope it's no win, no fee for you, as we all take one step closer to that money. And in round 2, things get decidedly trickier. Judgment of character is now crucial, because you've got to choose an opponent before hearing the question. I then read that question, and to stay in the game, you tell me if you think your opponent is going to get it right or wrong. As always, we start by randomly choosing just one of you. So, 7 of us playing for £4,000. Who's going to pick an opponent first? And it's Kevin. Kevin's got to pick somebody to go head-to-head with. Kevin, come and choose your opponent. You did pretty well in round 1, didn't you?
I did okay. I'm
Good
here.
judge of character. This time round, it's very simple. You pick an opponent, I read them a question, and you tell me whether they're going to get it wrong or right. Take a look round. Nick seems to have perked up a bit. Paul quietly confident, I think. Ray's looking ever so slightly shifty. And then there's William and Barry. Who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Barry.
Well, we didn't hear Barry answer a question in round 1. I wonder what his general knowledge is like. Will you join us now, Barry, and face your question? Right, Kevin. What was it apart from the waistcoat that caught your eye?
He didn't answer a question in round 1. I'm hoping to find a bit of reaction.
You think he's got an expressive face and you can aim him out the door?
Yep.
OK, Barry, now you need to get the answer to this one right to stay in the game. Kevin, you've got to predict before he answers whether he's going to get it right or wrong. Here's your question, Barry. Kevin, you concentrate on his face. Barry, which planet is closest to the sun? Very confident nod there. Not much messing about. Is he going to get it wrong or right?
I think he's going to get it wrong.
You think he's going to get it wrong?
I'm positive he is.
Now, if he does get it wrong, he's out and you're in. If he gets it right, then you go. OK, Barry, the question is which planet is closest to the sun? Now, quite a few planets orbit the sun. What's going through your mind? Do you know the answer? Is it going to be a guess? And if so, how have you narrowed it down?
It's between Mercury and Mars.
Which one do you want to go for?
I'll go with Mercury.
Mercury. And let me give you the order of planets from the furthest out. Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Earth, Venus, and Mercury is closest to the sun. Barry, you are right. And you stay in the game, whereas Kevin, I'm happy to say to you, sit down, you're out. OK, 1 down, 5 to go. Who's going to be up next? And it's Ray. We know Ray's general knowledge is good. How good is he at sussing out other people? Ray, come and choose an opponent. As I said, pretty good general knowledge we've seen so far. Who do you fancy going up against? Who can you read the best? William looks very, very stony-faced, doesn't he? He's cheered up a bit, Nick, but he still is not too happy about looking at us. Who's it going to be?
I'll go for Paul.
Paul, face your question. So you've gone for Paul. Is it because of his knowledge or because you think his face is like an open book?
Bit of both, I think, Paul.
Bit of both. You can read him and you're going to trust him, maybe, when you've heard the question. Paul, you've got to, as ever, answer this question correctly to stay in the game.
Okay.
Before you answer, Ray's going to predict whether you're going to get it right or wrong. Here's your question. How many capital cities stand on the river Danube? Geography's not my strong suit. Wouldn't know this. Wouldn't have a clue. I don't think he knows it either. But then I'm biased. I'm also biased about the outcome. See, I want him to get it wrong so he goes, and you to say he's going to get it right so you go. And then I'm much closer to my cash. What's it going to be? Is he going to get this right or wrong?
I'll say wrong.
You think he's going to get it wrong? From his reaction, is that? Must be.
Could be, yes. Well, question, you know.
So, Paul, he's put you in the spotlight. He thinks you're going to get it
Certainly
wrong.
has.
What are you thinking at the moment? What's going through your mind?
3 to 5. I'm going into the centre of that. I'm saying 4.
you think there are 4 capital cities on the River Danube. If you're right, you stay in the game. If you're wrong, Ray keeps going. In fact, there's Vienna, which is 1, Belgrade, of course, Budapest, and Bratislava, so 4 is the right answer. Which means Paul stays in the game. Ray, on a guess, I'm happy to say, sit down, you are out. So, 2 down, 4 to go. Who's going to be up next to place their fate in somebody else's hand? Let's find out. Well, now it's about turn for Paul. He managed to get Ray out by answering a question. Will he eliminate another opponent by guessing the outcome of their answer? Paul, join me now and choose your opponent. We're making you work for that money, aren't we?
You surely are.
Nobody gets through without some effort, though, on this show. Here we go. You're not going to see the question until you've chosen somebody, either whose face you think you can read or whose general knowledge you trust. Which way are you leaning at the moment? Must ever get Nick kind of out there on his own, on a limb?
I'm looking at Nick and...
he's looking right back.
Discounting Nick straight away.
Why are you ruling him out?
I don't know. Just something about Nick.
Bit of a dark horse?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I think so.
Slightly shifty looking?
I wouldn't go that far.
Untrustworthy?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Maybe not bright enough?
Oh, well, fair enough.
OK. So it's between William and Barry?
It is.
Having alienated Nick?
Yes.
So who's it going to be, Paul?
It's going to be Nick.
So he kind of lulled you into a false sense of security. Now, though, Nick, it's time for you to face your question. Why Nick, Paul?
I think he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Right. So you think he's going to get it right, hopefully, and you can go through.
That's it.
Stay in the game. OK, Nick, you do need to get this right to stay in the game. OK? Before you answer, Paul's going to tell me whether you're going to get it right or wrong. Here's your question. Israel has 2 official languages. Hebrew is 1. What is the other? Now he's thinking. I'm sure he's a very bright chap. Does he know this, though? Would you like him to look up a bit?
I don't mind where Nick looks.
Right.
I've made my decision already.
Very quickly?
Oh, yes.
Do you still trust him, or do you think he's not going to know this? You think he knows
I trust
this?
Nick.
Yeah?
Yes.
He's going to get this right?
He's going to get this right.
Sure?
As sure as I'll ever be.
OK, if he does get it right, you're both still in the game. If he gets it wrong, fingers crossed for me, you're both out. Nick, Israel has 2 official languages. Hebrew is 1. What's the other?
I'm not 100% sure, I have to say. Because it could be Arabic, but I think it's English.
Nick, if you get this wrong, you're out, and Paul goes out with you. Israel has 2 official languages. One is Hebrew, but the other is Arabic. So, Nick, you're wrong. Which means I've got the pleasure of saying to both Nick and Paul, happy days, sit down, you are both out. And there are just 2 contestants left, and me, and one of us is going to win £4,000. But who is going to be guessing and who's going to be answering? A lot of tension for all of us, and it just got much worse for Barry. Obviously, William is going to be answering the question, so will you both please join me for £4,000? I'm going to ask William a question. He must get it right. You've got to predict if he's going to get it wrong or right before hearing his answer. Now, here's what's going to happen. If he gets it right and you think he's going to get it wrong, he gets the money. If he gets it wrong and you know he's going to get it wrong, then you get the money. But if you think he's going to get it right and he gets it wrong, I get the cash. That's what I want to happen. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Here's the question. You watch it. The title of which James Bond film is taken from his family motto? Look at that face, though. I think he knows it, you know. I really do think he knows this. Yeah.
It's a fairly obvious one. For me, anyway.
For you. And I think he knows it as well because I want you to say he's going to get it right, because that's the only way I can get any money. If you say he gets it right and he gets it wrong.
No, I think he's going to get it right.
You reckon he's going to get it right?
Yeah.
OK, let's find out. Bit of a giggle there. Now, William, if you get this right, that's fine. You're both still in the game, because Barry has predicted you're going to get it right. But If you get it wrong, and he said you're going to get it right, for the first time, on no win, no fee, I get £4,000. William, the title of which James Bond film is taken from his family motto?
Well, I can only think of one that it might be.
Right, only one of all those movies, all those different Bonds.
Well, I don't think it's Thunderball or one of those. I think Live and Let Die.
Is that going to be your final answer?
Yes.
Live and let die is the family motto of the Bond family.
Doesn't sound very likely.
If you're right, you're both still in the game. But if you're wrong, well, you're out. And Barry's also out because he put his faith in you. He put his trust in you. He wants to stay in the game. And if you two don't win, then I get a fee. You say live and let die. Well, the film starred Pierce Brosnan.
Right. Well done.
The film is
Tomorrow Never.
The World Is Not Enough. So, William, you are wrong.
Yes.
Which means, William, sit down, you're out. Barry, I'm happy to say sit down, you're out. And as I lose them both, I'm very happy to say that for the very first time, I've got £4,000! The name of the show is No Win, No Fee. I've presented many episodes now for absolutely no money. This is my TV first £4,000. We're going to do this again very, very soon. Somebody else may get the money, but I hope and pray they don't. Make sure you're watching. Bye for now.